Yo, what up, Street Talks? Eric Kim. So, this thought is inspired by Cindy. So, the basic notion is the notion of a fear feed. So, if you think about feed, what is a feed? Feed is like, with animals, there's a feeding lot. Like you put the horses, you give them the feed, whether it be hay or mulch or whatever it is, oats, and generally they're kind of strapped to it and they're kind of fed it because that's the only option. Now, I think the problem with the media, social media, the news, everything like that, is essentially it's a bunch of fear feeds. So, what is the problem about a fear feed? So, the problem is the personal interests of these news agencies is not in personal alignment with our own individual interests. So, what is the point of a news agency? Not to disseminate the news and stuff like that. It's to make money via advertising and to maximize their profits, right? So that's pretty obvious. And even now, it seems like the only news to quote trust is probably like the CDC or even local or governmental news. But even that is kind of flawed too, because there's lobbying groups and private interest groups and so forth. And there's always some sort of hidden motive. So essentially what I mean to say is we should always be suspicious of the motives of everyone else. Now, when I think about fear feeds, this is an analogy. Imagine it's kind of like you got the human centipede, you kind of got the human centipede, and then like someone's ejecting shit and then it's going into your mouth. And then every time we open up Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, open up news websites, stuff like that, we're essentially taking the shit feed or the fear feed, and I'm like, yo, do you like that? And I think what's important to notice is like the physiological effect. So when I talk about the physiological effect, I mean like next time you open up the news or open up Twitter, you read something that you don't like, how does it actually make your body feel? Does it make you, like, at least I know for me, I start to feel like kind of like heart palpitations, or I feel like tension in my head, or my limbs go weak and stuff like that. And so I think that's what a lot of people don't realize. Fear has an intense physiological reaction where our body is shooting out like norepinephrine and a combination of dopamine, cortisol, and all these other stress hormones. And so there's this emotional hormonal cocktail which is being shot into our veins by our bodies. And certainly if you do this like repeated exposures of like hundreds if not thousands of times a day, it's like every time you kind of reload your Gmail, you do the swipe reload thing or reload Twitter, of course you know what's going to be. It's optimized for it to be fearful, and it's optimized to provoke a strong emotion within us. Even the word hate is interesting. I was doing some research on the word hate. Hate just means strong emotion. And so the news, the media, everything, social media, it's all just strong emotions. Now, of course, you'll want to be informed. You want to know the news which is pertinent to you. But I would just say let the news find you. You don't need to seek out the news. For example, the only two pieces of news that I had to know as a Rhode Island resident is, the restaurants and the places being closed and stuff like that. And I got actually one of those like emergency text messages that went directly through your phone. And it's funny too, because like I have the do not disturb thing on my phone enabled. The warning will still be able to go through that filter on my phone. So the really, really important news will eventually make its way to you. And if not, just like talking to random strangers and stuff like that, you're gonna know. Or like simple things like, I went to the gym and then the gym was like, oh, we're closed. I'm like, okay, that sucks. Then I called up another gym, it's like, oh, all gyms are closed in Providence. I'm like, oh man, this sucks. So the things that really, really are gonna affect you, it's probably gonna be more localized. So, whether it be your job, your company, your school, your institution, whatever, the important news is gonna find you. You don't need to, And obviously you want to be loving and caring and empathetic towards the rest of humanity, but to know the suffering of people in a distant country, unless you actually plan on donating money or having some sort of, you know, trying to do some sort of real impact, knowing the fear feed for the sake of the fear feed ain't gonna really benefit nobody in a meaningful way, except maybe the news agency and the advertising companies, and also maybe Google with Google AdSense and the ads and stuff like that. So I'm just kind of encouraging you to be a little bit more skeptical, a little bit more suspicious, a little bit more critical of just fear feeds in general. And so, you know, I don't know any sort of news agency which is promoting like good stories, right? It's like, oh, in times of disaster, you know, kid helps grandma walk across the street. It's like, yo, no one cares about that. That ain't gonna get the clicks. So essentially what I mean to say is, cut out more fear feeds from your life, zen out, stay in your zen zone, focus on your own thoughts, what you could personally do, stay local, and don't let fear control your life.